Welcome to Keepin It Real in Business, Body, and Life. My name is Tracey Vlahos. In each episode, we're going to take a holistic approach to your business, making sure that you stay focused on the right growth behaviors so that you can create the success you're looking for, while also looking at your well-being, making sure that you have the energy to be able to give to yourself and your business, and managing your stress, and also your quality of sleep, to also your life. What are those daily practices that you need to put in place that also feeds you, your family, your relationships, so that again, that you have a holistic approach to having the success in business that you are looking for? In this episode of Business, we're going to take a look at how to say no. Yes, I just said no. Now, when I speak on this particular topic, a lot of people, their skin crawls, right? Because we don't like saying no. Why? Because we feel guilty. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want people to think that we're not a superwoman or a superman and that we can't do it all. But saying no is super important. In our last episode, we took a look at success and what success looks like for you, not only when it comes to rank, title, and money, but what success feels like. We talked about that success wasn't working 24/7, being frustrated, burned out, that we needed to put systems in place so that we could better effectively use our time and be effective to our team, ourselves, and to our family. So in this episode, I really want to focus in on setting boundaries and learning how to say no. Now, I want you to think about it. If you are a parent like myself, and perhaps you have toddlers, or like myself, my children are in their 20s, but think back, if you would, with me. And when you ask a child to do something, pick up their toys, they would say, no, right? Eat your vegetables, no. No is a complete sentence to a toddler. Now, how is it that when we become adults and we don't want to be able to do something, or most importantly, something doesn't serve us, that we don't say no, that it's not a complete sentence for us? Instead, like I said, we say yes. We take on so much. And now it is added to everything else that we need to do, right? So many of us are people pleasers and we feel guilty and we say yes to so many things. So in this episode, I am going to help you and focus in on a simple phrase that has changed my life and changed so many other people's lives so that they could put boundaries in place, so they would be able to effectively work their business and not get stretched so thin. Because have you ever said yes to something that you wish you never would have said yes to, and now you're even dreading it? Well, believe me, in the next episode, we'll be talking about renegotiating some things. But let's focus on no. So I want you to think about this. When somebody comes up to you, maybe, they're saying, they've asked you, could you speak at this event? Could you donate something? Could you give an hour of your time? Because believe me, like yourself, I get asked this all the time. I look at my schedule and I think, oh, okay, I suppose I can do this. But I want you to go back to why it's important to put those boundaries in place, right? So that we're not burned out and working 24/7. So the easy way to be able to say no is let them know. Right now, I am focused on being able to put more boundaries in place in my business. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Right now, I am reinventing my business and be able to give more time to my business, myself, and my family. I'm sure you can appreciate that. I'm not going to be able to do that right now. When you can share why you're saying no and then say to them, I'm sure you can appreciate that. So far, I'm going to share with you, I've never had anyone come back to me and say, no, I can't appreciate that. Oh, you want to spend more time with your family? Oh, I don't appreciate that. I can't believe you're saying no to me. No, believe me. Focus in on why, right? I am right now focused in on putting systems in place in my business. I'm sure you can appreciate that. I'm going to have to decline at this time, but perhaps follow back up with me in 6 months. Do you see how much easier it is? Because as women, we're natural nurturers. And like I said, we don't want to disappoint others, and we want to feel like that we're like a superwoman and we can do it all. But for you to be able to own what you want, articulate it, and say, I'm sure you can appreciate it, it makes a huge difference. Now, I want you to write that down. I want it to be your mantra. I want you to use it as your hashtag. I don't care what it is. I'm sure you can appreciate that. All right. Now, our next episode of business, we're going to talk about how to now renegotiate. Because I have a feeling you've said yes to things that you wish you wouldn't have said yes to. How can we reach back out to that person, renegotiate without feeling guilty and without them being upset as well? So until then, I look forward to it. And remember, I'm sure you can appreciate that. In this segment of Body and Your Well-Being, we're going to talk about what is zapping your energy and how to increase your energy. Because as we know, having that energy to give to your business, to yourself, and also your family is very important. Now, in the last episode, we talked about stress eating, emotional eating, having a better relationship with food, which is super important. So I really wanted to roll into now, let's think about what is on the end of our fork. Because when I realized, when I went back to school to be a holistic health practitioner, that I had a big aha moment. And my aha moment was this, is that I needed to stop counting calories. That it had nothing to do with calories. I used to set this number like, oh, I'm only gonna eat 1,200 calories a day. Well, guess what? If that 1,200 calories a day of what you're eating is zapping your energy on a cellular level, and it is making you perhaps store fat, it is turning off your metabolism, it's not a good thing. That really, it was about what those calories are telling your body to do. As a matter of fact, I haven't counted calories for years, but I know that I eat, I don't know how many more calories, but I promise you, I'm not eating 1,200 calories a day. So here's what I want you to think about. Calories, food does 3 things in my eyes. 1, it either is going to turn on your metabolism or turn it off. I literally see like the switch inside of me, and I'm not kidding. Like when I eat something, it's okay. I know what I'm doing, and I just own it now because I have such a better relationship with food. But I know whether it's going to increase my energy for the day or it's going to zap it. I also know whether or not it's going to create stress on my body or not. And to be quite honest with you, I also know whether it's going to help prevent disease or perhaps create disease. Okay? So I really want to focus today, though, on not counting calories, but we're going to talk about what those calories are doing to your body and increasing your energy. So here's what I'm going to share with you, is in the morning, I'm going to give you a little tip, a tip that I've shared with thousands of people at so many different webinars and workshops and things that I do. And so in the morning, the first thing that you're going to want to do is hydrate your body. So many people get up in the morning and they have a cup of coffee, which I'm going to tell you right now, don't wig out on me, don't turn off the channel or anything. I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to need your coffee, because you do. It's perfectly fine. I need a little shot of caffeine sometimes myself, okay? However, I want you to think about, imagine if I had a vase here and I had some beautiful roses in this vase, but there was no water in this vase. Imagine the roses would probably be wilted. They're dehydrated, right? Imagine that is your brain fog. It's not, you're not feeling well. So, but imagine if I put water in that vase, of course, they're perkier, they're alive. So I want you to think about your cellular level and hydrating your body first thing in the morning. So every morning, for at least 15 years, I'm gonna be really honest with you, I have warm water. Why warm water? Warm water just penetrates your cells a little bit faster and helps hydrate your body, but it gives oxygen. Now, this is no lie. I think about this every morning, is when I'm drinking my nice, beautiful, warm water, I always think about my cells going, ah, right? You're giving them the hydration. They're so happy that you're not depleting them and giving coffee because, right, coffee, because even though we need that caffeine, it does dehydrate us and makes us later feel tired and brain fog. And when we're tired, I'm gonna be honest with you, our bodies are brilliant. Our bodies are gonna look for energy. Our bodies are also so brilliant that it knows that if it's looking for energy, it wants simple carbs, it wants sugar. So you are gonna crave those things more like that. But if you could start in the morning by giving yourself some hydration, then perhaps having your coffee if you need a little shot in the morning, and that's okay, believe me, but start there. Now I also wanna talk a little bit about sugar, okay? So we're gonna spend the next few minutes about looking at the things that zap your energy, but what you can replace it with. So I'm gonna share with you, for example, I had a client and I was thinking about this. So I want you to totally relate. I can remember her, it is February. She had wrote her New Year's resolution, right? Now it's February, she called me up and she said, Tracey, can you please do some coaching with me? I don't know what's wrong. I think it's my thyroid. I'm going to the gym every night for an hour on the elliptical. I'm only eating so many calories a day. And to be honest with you, I think it's like 1,000 calories a day. And I thought, oh my gosh, 1,000 calories, we can't survive on that. And so I said, okay, well, share with me. What does a typical day look like for you, right? So she said, Tracey, I get up in the morning and I have yogurt and I have a low-fat granola bar. And so I remember I literally was sitting at my kitchen table. I'm taking notes, of course, as I would do with all my clients and so forth, you know, being able to help them. And the first thing I thought to myself was, and I said, oh, well, what type of yogurt is it? So she tells me the type of yogurt. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, that yogurt was full of sugar. I'm now asking her about the low-fat granola bar. As a matter of fact, I have a low-fat granola bar right here. And in that low-fat granola bar, it has sugar, fructose, more sugar. So what happens? Your body, of course, and she's eating the low-fat yogurt and the low-fat granola bar, she thinks she's having restrictive calories, but those calories, because they're loaded with sugar, was what? With that switch inside, remember I told you have the ability to turn it off and to turn it on. Well, she was turning off her metabolism. Her insulin was spiking, right? So now she's turned off her metabolism. And when you come down off that sugar high, you're now really hungry and your body's saying, well, I want that high again. I want more sugar again. So we went on. I didn't say a word. I said, well, tell me about lunch. She said, Tracey, of course, matter of fact, she was working in a chiropractic office. And so she said, well, every day for lunch, I'm having a salad. You know, we're ordering out now. And I said, well, tell me what's on that salad. And so she was going to probably one of the favorite spots that many of you maybe go to, and I won't mention names, but on there it had cranberries and it had oranges, it had candied walnuts on it, and of course this low-fat dressing. And all I could think to myself was, sugar, sugar, sugar. You're eating a bowl of sugar. But to many of us, eating that salad is really healthy. But guess what? There was more sugar in the salad than there was fuel for her body. So I thought, once again, she's turning off her metabolism, right? She's zapping her energy. She's spiking up her insulin. So I said, okay, didn't say a word again, but just making my notes. I said, well, tell me about dinner. She said, well, I just had one slice of pizza, thin crust, only cheese, and a side salad. So here's what I say to you. Yes, I do have a fake piece of pizza in my hands, all right? But here's what I want you to think about. This beautiful white crust converts in your body to sugar. Now you add this nice cheese to it and dairy, and your body's gonna process it. And ladies, I don't have time to talk about digestion right now, but most of us have issues with our digestion, but that is a whole other topic, all right? But what I realized is that once again, she was eating things that were sugar. So all day long, she was on the sugar roller coaster. Guess what? When she went to the gym at night on the elliptical for an hour, and I gotta tell you what, even I couldn't stay on the elliptical for an hour, but hey, good for her. She was a sugar burner. When you fuel your body all day with sugar, because you need the energy, my goodness, we need food, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, I love food. I am a huge foodie. But when I realized and identified things, right, that weren't serving me well, I was able to crowd them out, right? I was able to add lots in. So now she's on the elliptical, she's becoming a sugar burner. So that hour of all those calories, she was using the sugar in her bloodstream. It was a sugar burner instead of using the energy from the stored fat in her body to use to be able to work out. So what did we do? I said, listen to me. Let me help you with this. We just needed to upgrade what you're doing. So what I'm going to say to you is the simple changes in your life. How can you add more protein in the morning and crowd out the sugar? Can you take that salad and add more vegetables? You know, the beautiful part is today, you can order at a restaurant, order at fast food. I mean, if I see a beautiful salad that I want, I'll say, you know, please take off the fruit. Please take off the candied walnuts. Can you add more vegetable, more avocado, more this? Can I have a side of lemons and olive oil? You know, in the evenings, I'm just eating, you know, things that are just, you know, fresher foods or quick and easy. And maybe I do have the chicken that's already pre-cooked at the store, because let's keep it real here. You know, being a mom and a single mother and working as much as I did, I had to put things on the table very quick and easy. And so what I wanted to know, in the next episode, I'm going to talk about how we can be able to add in, because my philosophy was I wanted to add in to crowd out. There was no more deprivation. I felt like I was constantly taking away when I was on this yo-yo dieting, and it was giving me brain fog, and then I was feeling bad. I wasn't getting results that I wanted. So remember, this is all about adding energy to your life, managing stress, getting that hormonal balance you want, right? Having the quality of sleep. So I want you to take a look at, you know, where are the hidden sugars in your life? Write them down. Think about it. How can you upgrade? I always talk about good, better, best, upgrade. Because in the next episode, we're going to talk about how to take simple things, upgrade them, and what to add in. But right now, I just want you to be aware of what you are putting into your life, because I want you to have that energy that you need to be able to be successful and accomplish whatever it is that you're looking for. In this episode of Life, we're going to talk about how to balance being an entrepreneur, a mother, a wife, and still owning our feminine energy and really knowing our self-acceptance. Now, in our last episode, we talked about feminine energy and masculine energy. Because as I had shared with you, I feel that in all my years of travels, so many women had lost that feminine energy, right? We stay so masculine. We don't need anybody's help. We can do it all. But we end up feeling very lonely. And so make sure, if you haven't, you go back and watch the last episode. Because now I really want to focus our energy on self-acceptance, really owning our messy, imperfect, perfect self. Because I think it's so important that not only do we have an amazing business plan, but a life plan. And this is part of that holistic balance. So I am very excited to bring back as a special guest again, Jade Hernandez. Jade is a dating expert. She's also a relationship and intimacy expert. And I've been able to watch her be able to help hundreds of women be able to have that self-acceptance and really own themselves again. But Jade, if you wouldn't mind, for the audience, would you share just a little bit more about what you do? And then we'll really go into our topic for the day.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
I help women, men, and couples with their relationships. So I really help them deepen their relationship and help bridge the communication gaps between male and female dynamics, and really get them comfortable in being themselves so that they show up authentically in their relationship. And that really is what bridges the connection and intimacy.
Yeah, and I love what you said, just showing up and being their authentic self, not being somebody else whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Now, if you wouldn't mind, because I know this is near and dear to your heart, I'd love for you to share with everybody a little bit of how do you show up authentically, but most importantly, balance being that entrepreneur, that mother, because I know you are a new wife yourself and also a stepmom, a business owner and entrepreneur yourself, and plus everything that you do, but really sharing with the audience how you end up balancing that, keeping that relationship strong, because it takes work. I mean, I know that, yeah.
So I make myself a priority first, because I know that when I show up for myself and when I'm taking care of myself, I'm much more of a better businesswoman, I'm a much better partner, I'm a much better mother. So I don't have because I value that so much, I make it a priority. And then, I've done a lot of inner work on myself to get really comfortable in my own skin. So I've, faced my weaknesses, I faced my fears, my doubts, my insecurities. And instead of like bypassing or dismissing them, thinking that they're a weakness, I really just try to better understand them. Like, where does this come from? And, how do I learn to respond from this? Because it's not like my past will never go away, but it's about learning how to respond when I am triggered by it rather than react, right? Because when I react, I'm just reacting and I'm really pushing love away and pushing connection and pushing intimacy, even from myself. So I just try and like really become my own best friend and know myself inside and out. And then through that, I have a better awareness of actually who I am when I show up professionally, and who I am when I'm, with my personal and close friends, and who I am as a mother and like my role in that, and who I am as a wife and partner. And they're all different, which is a great thing. So I think that's the other thing is, we're not one person. I mean, women are very complex beings. And so we have multiple personalities and strengths and weaknesses, and we bring those out, very differently in each role that we play.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you just hit on it as well, is that self-acceptance and putting ourselves first. Because self-acceptance, what I've noticed over the years is sometimes, I know you do a lot of speaking, I do a lot of speaking, and women will look at us and they'll say, oh, they have it all together. And if I look like her, if I was her, I would be more self-confident. And I just, so passionate, I know you are as well, and I'd love to have you expand on it. It's just women owning who they are in their skin. That none of our lives are perfect. They all have different dynamics and messiness. I have plenty of mess in my life that I've just had to own and just be. So could you share with them, like, where could they start just accepting who they are, that they are perfect, imperfectly, wonderful life, and really how you help your clients through that?
So one of the exercises I have my clients do is to have them honor their feelings and their emotions for the day. So when they wake up, one of the first things that they should be asking themselves, and same thing with the viewers, is how am I feeling today? So if you're feeling off, to really honor that. So for example, when I'm feeling down or just maybe a bit sad, I make sure that I wear all black that day. So I just really honor it and just get myself in it. So I like get really comfortable in it. I don't judge it. I just kind of like go through the day just wearing all black. I'll wear like my eyeliner will be darker. I'll listen to like really sad like music, and then almost instantly, 24 hours later, because I've allowed myself to express that and to really be with myself, the next day I feel completely different. And so I think that's just like one of the, an easy, applicable exercise that they can do is just asking themselves every day, how do I feel? And then just be that. So if I am feeling sexy, I'm going to wear something sexier. If I'm feeling super confident, then I'm going to wear probably something tighter. If I'm feeling bloated, or just not really myself, then I'm going to wear looser clothes. I'm just going to really honor that for myself.
Yeah, and I don't think that we do that enough as women, right? We give to everybody else. We're worried about them, that we don't even ask ourselves, how am I feeling?
Right.
Right, and just owning it, knowing that it's okay to have a bad day.
Right. And I think that, with that word self-acceptance, it's the same thing, right? So if I feel like I have to look like I'm perfect, right? So even though I'm having a poor day, a bad day or whatever, and I have to still feel like I have to put this front for everyone else, I'm not really accepting, so I'm actually dishonoring how I'm feeling and how I am. But then also, again, it kind of like disconnects other people from being able to connect with you, because each and every one of us has had bad days, and we don't always feel 100%. And so if I were to be like, Tracey, how was your day today? And you're like, you know what? Not really that well, or it's okay. Like, I would respect that so much more, because then it would allow me to really be there for you and be like, oh, well, what's wrong? How can I support you? Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Instead of you being like, oh, everything's fine.
Right.
And then we've just missed this great opportunity to really connect with each other.
Right? Because how many times have we said that? Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's all good. Right? I've done that so many times. I'd love to have everybody share with everybody as well a great activity. I know that you shared with me is something you do in the morning as well. And you were talking about just asking yourself, not only what do I want and how do I own that, but what do I need in the next 10 to 15 minutes? I love when you said, sometimes I just want to look out the window. Sometimes I just want to read. Like, just having a couple moments just for ourselves and owning that and setting up our day. But I'd love for you to share with it because it's been really powerful.
Sure. So just recently, I noticed that when I wake up in the morning, I tend to just grab my phone, right, because the alarm set off, and then I immediately check Facebook or Instagram. And I noticed that just kind of put me into this like anxiety-ridden, like rat race type of like, what did I miss, right? Fear of missing out. And so I took a step back, and actually I just did this week. So I've been doing it for, the past 5 days, and it's been a huge game changer for me. So now I've just changed my habit. So now when I wake up in the morning, I of course let the alarm go. So I pick up my phone, set the alarm off, and then I don't check Facebook or Instagram. I don't check my emails at all. And I just go straight and get my coffee, and I enjoy my coffee, open up the blinds, start watching the sun come up, and then I ask myself, so after I've had like a couple of silent moments to myself, I then ask myself, okay, what is it that you want to do? And sometimes it's listen to a podcast, sometimes it's to research, a particular subject that I'm interested in, sometimes it's to read, sometimes it's just to do nothing and continue, looking out the window. And what I found out, or what I'm finding out, is that I actually start off the day for me instead of, I guess for others, trying to, or being focused or distracted by what other people are doing. Is I actually focus the attention right back to me and what it is that I need to do. And then also, again, honoring like what it is that I want in that particular moment before jumping back into real life, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Because as I've said, self-care is not selfish. Having that 10 to 15 minutes is really a good thing. As women, I think we're natural nurturers. We're so worried about everybody else. But I think we're learning, and especially, with you being an expert, is when we're so worried about everybody else, the relationships in our lives then aren't that healthy.
Right.
Right. And so if we will wrap this up here, but I'd love for you to give one more tip, because I know so many times we just aren't acceptant. We just don't feel like ourselves. I've had women say, I feel like I'm trapped in a body that's not mine. I've let the relationship, in my, the relationship in my life fall apart. Like, where do I start to even mend that? So if you could maybe give a tip on where to even start, because I know we definitely need to start with ourselves.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you would share to help mend that?
So I believe the lone wolf mentality has gone to the wayside. Whereas before we used to think that we could just do it all on our own. We can fix ourselves, we can find, we can just do it all on our own. And what I'm learning is that that's not true anymore, right? So I think support is one of the biggest things to self-acceptance and loving yourself. So whether that's, grabbing a book and starting to read a book about vulnerability or confidence or learning how to love yourself, or, creating stronger relationships with your girlfriends where you start becoming more vulnerable and real with them, or even doing inner work with like a therapist or a coach. I always think that that's, one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself. So whether, if you can't afford, obviously, to talk to someone professionally, then there's so much information out there, and books and podcasts, to just really self-reflect and answer questions that you've never asked yourself.
Yeah, it's super important. I know, Jade, you have an amazing Instagram. I follow it all the time. I'm just always inspired by your knowledge and those aha moments. And to be quite frank with you, I'm always looking at everybody's comments below it. And you just have that ability for people just to think differently. So I'm just going to say this, like you said, read, invest in yourself. Definitely follow Jade on Instagram. Follow here at the bottom. We have her Instagram, because it's pretty incredible. So, I just want to thank you. And first of all, thank you for your work. Thank you for, owning yourself, and, the both of us talk, owning your messy, imperfect, perfect self that is now able to be relatable to so many hundreds of thousands of women, and being here and just giving to everybody like you have. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
You're welcome. In our next episode of Life, we are now starting to get into the holidays. So we are going to talk about eliminating and delegating. Because as women, we've heard, Jade's shared, we need to own our femininity. We need to put ourselves first. Guess what? We don't have to always be masculine and say we can do it all. We need to learn the confidence how to eliminate and delegate so that we can be better to ourselves and the relationships in our life. So until then, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.